there's some people in the mainstream media that feel the need to immediately leap to the defense of the Koch brothers. Joe Scarborough is going to be the first. I doubt he'll be the last, but let's watch him argue for why this is a terrible line of attack.
They want to turn the Koch brothers into Bane. This is all part of a bigger strategy to raise awareness of who the Koch brothers are, to see if they can somehow make their money, or at least make associating with them a tiny bit problematic. We'll see if it works. I think it's a tough argument to make.
I understand the strategy. It's the stupidest strategy I've ever heard. If somebody thinks that a voter in Raleigh, North Carolina that's out of work gives a damn about who's financing 30-second ads, they are too stupid to be in politics.
Does Joe Scarborough know that he's on a national news program when he says that? He acts like he's on his couch. If a guy has spent $30 million attempting to influence the politics of the U.S., maybe it's your job to explain to the people why that's significant and why they should care about the name Koch. He's acting like he's just a bystander in this.
You know, and I agree with you to a degree. I mean, I agree with you. Another way of looking at this is that Joe Scarborough's on there as a political analyst, and he's analyzing the politics of what this could mean. And in fact, very few people who are voters in America think about the Koch brothers when they're going out to vote. So from a strategy standpoint, I still think he's wrong. I think it's a stupid argument, because this isn't about that person in Raleigh, North Carolina who's out of work. This is about the Democratic base, getting them angry, getting Harry Reid out there to get the base angry so the base will vote in a midterm election. The base cares about Charles Koch, so the base goes out there and does that.
So this is the third time that Scarborough has gone on the offense attacking the Democrats and being just outraged at the attacks against the Koch brothers. We have more on that in a second. But when it comes to political strategy, I think he sounds a little desperate here. Like when Republicans do a bad strategy, I bash Democrats all the time, but the Republicans are worse. Okay, that's our opinion on it, and backed by a lot of facts. So when Republicans lose, I'm perfectly happy, right? So, for example, I actually think it's a bad strategy on their part to focus on Obamacare, because I think a lot of people will get on it, and then the numbers for Obamacare will be much better by November, which is a long time away. So I don't go out there and be like, oh my God, Republicans, what are you doing? It's a dumb strategy. Please, please, please don't do it. Now, I've said that on the show because I'm an analyst, and I analyze it, and I think it's the wrong strategy, and I said that yesterday. But I'm not emotional about it, like, oh my God, what are you doing, Republicans? Why are you doing a stupid strategy? I don't think that Joe Scarborough, a former Republican congressman, cares that much about the Democrats that he's concerned that they're doing a strategy that might not be effective.
Yeah, and that clip, that was not the end of him attacking them. He went on to say that they shouldn't be allowed to use blenders because they're too stupid to make their way around a kitchen. Like, he went at length about it.
I think what I am seeing there from Scarborough is that he's worried that it's actually not a stupid strategy, that it's actually a very good strategy, and that when President Obama ran on a popular strategy against Mitt Romney, Scarborough also called it stupid, and he was also massively wrong about that. A popular strategy is an excellent strategy. You see, it's in the word. Populist.
It's a little naive of us to think that it's going to affect most Americans that this Charles Koch, but it's a stupid argument that he's making from politics. It's stupid politics not to do this. I mean, what the Democrats are doing is smart politics. That's where I can't get over what Scarborough is saying, because it actually is smart. He's the stupid one, Scarborough.
And here's what they're massively underestimating. That there is a feeling in the country that we are powerless, and that there are certain people using the levers of power for their own advantage. Now, they might not know their name, but this is the Democrats' attempt to name them. You know the old saying, kick some ass, take some names, right?
Yeah.
That's what they're doing here. They're kicking ass.
Kick ass, take names later.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, well, okay. Maybe I'm taking it from.
We don't have that much time.
Maybe I'm taking it from McCain, who used to say it that way. Anyway, and they're naming him here, and they're saying these are the guys. You know, you're worried about guys who are controlling things. These guys are it. And by the way, they're right.
Yeah, and we didn't know their names before. So to your point, now that you know, I mean, Richard Mellon Scaife is a name that very few people in America know. He was in the 80s and 90s, especially the 90s, a wealthy man who was funding all these conservative movements in this country, from the Arkansas Project on down, and a conservative mind. He died recently, but you know, you don't know his name. Now you know the Koch brothers, and that's important too. That there's a name and a face attached to them.
And one more thing about what the Republicans know or don't know. they know that it's a good strategy because they've been using it all this time.
Exactly.
George Soros. So all of a sudden, Scarborough thinks it's a bad idea. It might be that he has more of a emotional and personal connection to the Kochs. He said on several other occasions, like, "Oh my God, do you know how good David is?" Referring to David Koch. Oh, okay, you seem to know him fairly well, right? And yelled at others. In fact, he did that in this case too, referring to a full-throated defense of the Kochs, if you will. Here, let's watch.
I'm just find it shocking that you have a Senate Majority Leader using these McCarthyite terms like un-American, and no senator on the Democratic side is the least bit uneasy about it.
But you're right. I mean, the fact that at a time of such ineffectiveness in Washington, to have our politics be this shrill from that highest level is going to turn a lot of people off.
That's what's turning people off. Shrillness.
Yeah. Where were these guys when the Republicans were running
Gregory,
every single campaign they've ever run?
Right. I mean, that David Gregory line, he must have his head in his ass. I mean, how in the world can he say, what are the Democratic senators thinking? Shrill voices? This is not a time for shrill voice. Come on. You just lie down and listen to their shrill voices and not do anything?
Now,
it's absurd, man.
David Gregory is the same guy who rap danced with Karl Rove. But all of a sudden, he's concerned about the shrill voices from the left. Okay, yeah, I wouldn't know anything about shrill voices from the right. Okay.
Is it called rap dancing?
Probably not.
Okay. Just checking.
Okay, that's a very good point. You see, that's what we do on this program, fact checking.
Yeah.
How 1958 guy from Wisconsin did I sound? They do that.
Oh, he's the fellow that was rap dancing. That fellow was rap dancing with that robe.
Well, the expression is apparently kick ass and you figure out the names for things later.